Okay, this is Doug again, part 3. We've done how to fit the horse part 1, how to fit the rider part 2. Now we're going to show you how we build it and why it's a Freedom saddle as opposed to somebody else's. So the first thing that we're going to get is the tree. We go back to fitting the horse, but this is a tree comes in. This is what it looks like when it comes to us. Back here is what it looks like when we get done. This is in the middle. So the tree, first off, is a wooden tree with a fiberglass cover. The manufacturer covers this tree for 8 years. We cover it for as long as we're in business. If you can break a Freedom saddle tree, we'll be happy to place it unless you're a professional roper, which we don't have too many of them, so that's not a problem. But anyway, these are durable trees. They stay together good. When we get our trees in, we have tools that we can use to check squareness on the tree, to check the balance. So, you know, before your saddle's made, we're going to make sure that the tree's good. To be honest, we've never found a crooked or a bad tree, so our tree maker is very good, but we still double check anyway just to make sure. So this saddle here is ready to start pinning down and looking like these saddles back here, but we want to take one apart and show you what we can do. Once this saddle is built as these, so this saddle here with the screws in it, we can have the top off of this saddle in about 1 minute. This saddle here with the conchos is a lot harder. It takes about 2 minutes. So what we can do, we'll pull the back housing here, which covers your skirts up, and then we can take all these screws out and we'll pop this seat right off. So that allows us to come back in here and adjust the seat if we need to do that. It's rare but not unheard of. So when we're building the seat, like I say, the saddle comes in, we have a fiberglass top like this. A lot of saddle makers, to them, this is a ground seat. To us, this is a strainer plate because that's what it really is. The ground seat is formed with leather, and we can use this ground seat to make the rider comfortable and to send you where we want you to be or where you want to be. So with this ground seat, we can send you forward, send you back. We can set you higher, set you lower. And then everybody has a little bit different comfort zone. So we've got about 3 basic seats that we put into the saddle. Usually after a conversation, when we take your order, we're going to know which one probably is going to work best for you. When you get your saddle, if you ride it a little bit and things aren't going exactly as you think they should, then pick up your phone. Best thing to do is pick up your cell phone while you're sitting in the seat, because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Maybe all we need to do is readjust your stirrups a little bit. There's an old adage that if your seat hurts, your stirrups are probably too long. And too long of stirrups is very, very common in the horse world, and especially in the gaited horse world. So we can look at things like that, but we can also come back in here and reshape this seat if we need to. So we're not stuck. Where most saddles, once they make them, they put so many nails and unnecessary stuff in them that you couldn't, when you get them apart, they're just basically tore up and there's really nothing you can do with them. We designed this saddle so we can go back in here and adjust this seat for the rider if we need to. Again, if we do the cast like we do on the for the horse's side, it's going to be right. But if it's not right, we'll deal with it and we'll fix it. So Freedom saddles are custom saddles, but we're making a commitment to you as a saddle maker, just like you're making a commitment to us. So we're going to work these things through and make sure that this saddle works. Alrighty, so when we move on from that, we move into our skirts. Basically, our skirts are 26 inches on a 16-inch seat. A 15-inch, we can cut them down a little bit. We want this stirrup to pass, or not, we want the skirt to pass this a couple of inches past the end of the bar. Of course, it'll be covered by the back housing. And then we're going to block or mold this skirt into the tree, or the tree really into the skirt, so we can get this tree bar back down on the horse's back, because we've done a lot of work to make this thing fit. If we just plop it down there on a piece of leather, like most of them, again, these saddles that you see are done this way, it's not going to do its job. The bar is not going to be able to get down and do its job correctly. So we want to mold that in there where it'll sit down on. Now when we put a pad under it, you know, the pad will again help cushion, kind of like a sock does for your shoe, but it's not going to stop pressure points. We all know that. So we bring this in like this, so we can bevel this up or flare this back edge up. We flare the front edges up so the horse's shoulder again can get in under there, and this should be behind the horse's shoulder. So the point of this bar should be behind the horse's shoulder. But if the saddle moves, or if the horse has some type of conformation situation that is going to allow that, that can go way under there before you have any contact. Same thing in the back. You can get under there pretty good before it has any contact. But we're still carrying from here to here, where like we showed you in the first video, most of these quarter horse bars, they have the wrong twist in them, they have the wrong rock in them. You're going to carry a little bit here, probably a little bit back here, and then all this pressure is going in the middle to send out to there. So they just don't work very well. So back to this, we put all this stuff in like it is. This is another thing right here. And when we put our ground seat in, we let it lap over, and that gives a smooth transition. If we cut this off, again, the way most saddles are made, you have a hole right there. And it's amazing how that can make the saddle uncomfortable, and you don't even realize it until it's pointed out to you. And it's just little things like this that we've learned working with centered riding instructors and really professionals in the business. I really don't know of anybody else that does this, but it's one of the secrets that we're letting out now that helps our saddles sit and ride better. Another thing we do is we attach the skirts with these tug straps. That keeps it up nice, so that keeps the saddle tight and looking good. It also helps us position the skirts so they'll be good and even when we attach them. We put a heavy nylon strap here that is attached into the rigging plate, so that keeps the pressure when that keeps getting. This is the part of the skirt that gets all the pressure put on it. I don't know that we need to do this. I've never seen anybody else do it. I just feel better because it's there. It just helps the structure of the saddle stay good longer. Stirrups. We want to put the top back on the saddle. When you order a saddle, we're going to want two measurements. One from the middle of the seat. Oh, I'm going to go back here. From the middle of the seat to where your foot, straight down, just like that, to where your foot sits in the stirrup. This one's about 33.5 inches, but we have 17 holes, 19 inches of adjustment in these stirrups. So you're not stuck. We're just trying to get you to the right place. And you see how all these saddles, the stirrups will turn. This is another thing we're going to do for you. We're going to turn the stirrups so they'll stay around like that. If they happen to work their way back until the saddle gets broken good, we can tell you how to fix that. And it's very easy. You get a bowl of hot water, you take this strap off, you pull this stirrup up, you put the water in there, and put it down, drain it back in, put your thing back on, twist that back around real hard until it sits like that, and tomorrow you're back in business. As this saddle breaks in, that will start turning back and forth real easy, and you're not going to have this problem where the stirrup's always trying to turn like that. It's irritating and it hurts your ankles. So that's another thing we can do. There's just a lot of little things that goes into these saddles. We use English bridle leather, which is a much higher quality leather than you find in most saddles. It's a little bit harder to work with because it don't mold as well, because it's more pliable and flexible, has more oil in it, so it resists molding like a skirt will do. But it makes a nicer product, so we deal with that. We use brass instead of copper, much harder, so it holds, don't come apart. We dome our rivets so they kind of bite into the leather, so that way things aren't going underneath getting caught on. Little things. Nylon bonded thread, cotton thread. If you're taking care of your stuff and oiling your saddle once in a while, doesn't take very long for that stuff to start rotting out and just breaking. So all these little things that go into to the construction of a saddle to make it last a long, long time. and be good while you're doing it. Another thing we do is we attach our Latigo carriers and our stirrup. We actually attach them to the tree so they're solid. They're double ply and sewn so they don't get all pulled out of shape. You see that a lot. So again, it's just little things that make a saddle quality. I'm sure there's more I could go into on this. Can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but if you have questions, don't hesitate to call us. Thanks a lot.